Alright guys, what's going on? Hadex Gaming here. Today's episode, we will be going over the new weapons from the most recent update. So, with this update, it brought along great swords and great bows as new weapon classes, and I believe there's 5 or 6 new great swords and great bows for progression along the game. So you start low and then get better ones as you progress through the game, just like you would any other weapon or tool rather. So, with that being said, here is the new weapons. We've got the Iron Greatsword. Melee damage is 50, knockback 150, and attack speed is 5. I believe the attack speed and knockback is the same for each weapon. It's just the damage on the greatswords that get scaled as you do. So you've got the Iron, 50 damage, the Frost with 65 damage, the Ivy with 80 damage, Quartz with 90, and then the biggest jump is going from Quartz to Glacial with 125 damage. And for the great bows, there are, 6 of them. So there's 5 great swords, 6 bows. So you start off with the gold great bow with 40 range damage. That's 40 range damage using bone arrows. So depending on the arrow you use, you get different damage numbers, but 40 damage for the bone arrows are the most common arrows used. So 40 damage with the gold great bow. The attack speed is 1.4. The void great bow is 50. Ivy 58. Not a huge jump there, only an extra 8 damage. The druid's great bow is 72, and it's the only bow with a special ability. So when you fire this one, it shoots petals that split mid-air. So it's pretty much like a multi-shot. And then you've got the mycelium great bow. Oh, sorry. Before the mycelium, it goes from druid to tungsten. And then from tungsten with 86 damage to mycelium with 100 range damage. No special ability on that one. It just does a ton of damage. I found with the bows as well, when shooting them, the bullets tend to lead just higher than the cursor. As you can see here, if I fire an arrow, it goes just over the cursor. If I aim down, that rabbit got in the way. It hits the cursor precisely. And same with firing upwards. It'll hit the cursor precisely, pretty much. It's just left or right. You just have to aim a little bit lower than what you wanted to hit. So if I wanted to hit the tree right in the middle, I'd have to aim a little bit lower for it to hit that tree. So, with that being said, let's go see how to craft them, how to craft each of them, and then we might go tackle a few bosses with these as well. Okay, so to craft the weapons, for the pre-hard mode or pre-deep dungeons and caves, you can craft them on a regular workstation. If I type in great here, you will see... Oh. Nope, not a workstation. A anvil, just on a regular anvil. Just type in great. That'll filter them all through. So, pre-hard mode, you get access to the Iron Greatsword for 20 iron bars and some logs. The Gold Great Bow for some 16 gold bars. And then the Frost Greatsword for 20 frost shards. Now, these are all the ones that can be accessed just from before the deep dungeons. And then the ones after the deep dungeons can be created as you progress further into the game on the demonic crafting table. You can see you get access to the void one for void shards and demonic bars. The ivy equipment, so the ivy greatsword, ivy great bow for 20 ivy bars, 16 ivy bars for the bow, and 8 swamp sludge. And then for the quartz greatsword, it's just 20 quartz. So they're all from the still pre-hard mode, but you just need to have defeated the first boss to get access to the demonic crafting table. And then with the deep weapons, you will need access to an advanced workstation, and from here you can craft the remainder of them. So you get access to the tungsten great bow, which is tungsten bars and ectoplasm. The glacial greatsword, which is the best greatsword in the game at the moment, for 20 glacial bars and 12 glacial shards. The mycelium great bow, which is the best great bow for the game, but would probably be a contender would be the druid one, as that is the druid one has multi-shot, so it depends on if it's single target or multi-target you're trying to hit. But the mycelium great bow is just 20 mycelium bars. The void great bow from the void dungeon, so that's just void shards, demonic bars. Ivy Greatsword, 20 Ivy bars. We went through these ones before, and we went through the Quartz one as well. So the only ones you need the advanced workstation for are the Tungsten, the Glacial, Mycelium. Just these three here. Okay, and lastly, I mentioned the Druid Greatbow. This one here is found in the Deep Swamp Caves. It's the only one that is not crafted at the moment. These can be found, in just as I said before, in the Deep Swamp Caves. So as you go exploring, make sure to check them out, as the Druid's Greatbow shoots petals that split midair. So let me go and show you what that looks like. If I go and fire that one off now, you'll see that it splits off into multi-shots. If I fire it sideways, it's 2 over a longer distance. If I can zoom out more, there we go. It will fire, they split multiple times. So it's good for ad clearing, and I'm pretty sure they split when they hit one target as well. Yeah, they do. So if you hit one target, they split, and they keep going. So it's very good for clearing out trash mobs, a lot of small enemies, minions, things like that, or even if there's a boss that has multiple weak points on it that you can hit. Okay, so with the Great Bow and the Great Sword armor updates, or weapon update rather, they added in 5 shields as well. So these are the Wooden Shield, the Hardened Shield, the Cactus Shield, Tungsten Shield, and the Aged Champion Shield. So what these shields are is these are a new type of trinket that lets you block attacks and take some of that damage. So let's go over them. You've got the Wooden Shield here, which when equipped gives you 2 armor. And then holding spacebar will use some stamina, but prevents 40% of the damage taken. The Hardened Shield is plus 4 armor and 50% damage. The Cactus is plus 4 armor and 60% damage. The Tungsten Shield is 6 armor and 70% damage. And the Aged Champion Shield is plus 8 armor and 100% damage, which means you can tank attacks for the full damage and not get hit by them. The only problem is when using these, it replaces the main trinket slot. So if you're using the Blink Scepter or the Force of Wind trinket, you can no longer dash or teleport. With the shield, if you hold spacebar, you will hold the shield up in front of you, and you do have to be facing the direction. Depending on which shield you use, you will use stamina faster than the others. So as you can see here with the Aged Champion Shield, the stamina runs out very quickly. Whereas if I swap back to the Wooden Shield and hold spacebar, you'll see that it drains a lot slower. So it depends what shield you want to use. If you're comfortable taking a little bit of damage but getting more blocks off and being safer, you can try that one. Or if you're comfortable blocking only when you need to, then you can go for the 100% damage resistance one where you won't take any damage. With the update as well came one more armor set. It is the Widow's armor set. So this is what it looks like. I've been wearing all episode and then all video, and then with it comes 18 armor for the helmets, 22 armor for the chest, 16 armor for the boots. The helmet comes with 10% magic attack speed. The chest is 10% magic damage, and the Widow is 20% movement speed. For the set bonus, attacks poison the target for 25 damage over 5 seconds and grants immunity to slow. To obtain the shields, the Wooden Shield can be crafted on a workstation, demonic workstation, or advanced working station. The Hardened Shield can be made on a anvil, as so. So you would need 1 shield, an iron bar, and some leather. Or 10 iron bars, 10 leather. The Cactus Shield is from the desert chests, so it's not crafted, it is found. The Tungsten Shield can be created on the advanced workstation, so just for some tungsten bars and some obsidian. And the Aged Champion Shield is found in Deep Swamp chests. It is probably the best shield in the game and blocks 100% of damage taken. So that's probably a good find if you manage to snag one. Alright. The Widow armor set is essentially just the mycelium version of the magic version of the mycelium armor. And this can be crafted at an advanced workstation. So you will need silk, mycelium bars, and cave spider glands. To obtain silk, you can just obtain them from small spiders in the deep swamp caves. They are a new item that was added in the most recent updates. And then mycelium bars and cave spider glands as per the normal. And that is essentially just the final game gear for magic users, if mycelium is what you want to use, depending on your armor preference. Alright, now to get a baseline of these weapons, I have got equipped nothing. These are just in the cosmetic slot, so I'm not running around naked. And a hardened shield. And I'm going to see if I can fight the first boss with just a hardened shield, the iron greatsword, and the gold bow. So, let's give this a shot. Alright, so far the bow is very difficult to use, only because you need to charge it up. If there's lots of minions, it is something that you do have to indeed worry about. So no trinkets, no armor. The bow seems to do a lot of damage when it does hit. It's just trying to manage the minions at the same time. So if there's a lot of enemies, it's not very good. If it's a one-on-one boss, I would say it's doing a decent chunk. Keep in mind it is a gold bow, so let's see if the greatsword is any good. When using it, I can see that there's a noticeable delay. So you don't want to start charging it up unless you can get close. So, greatsword, not a very good weapon for the first boss. You cannot get close enough to him, but it is very good for clearing out minions. It does do a ton of damage as well, 101 damage per hit. As I'm using the bow, I can see that you can see here that I'm not charging it fully for these smaller hits. So if you want to kind of fire them off, you can. But the bow is not great on its own. Picking off enemies at a distance would be great. But with the overwhelming amount of enemies, it's probably not the best weapon yet. Later on in the game, it might be good. Especially bosses that, you know, you can hide from. But to fight the first boss with only a greatsword or great bow is not a good idea. Alright, now as one final test, I have gotten a ton of armor. So I've got a full set of mycelium armor. I've got the nimble balance foci, the sturdy ancient relics, the quick hysteria tablet for the extra summons, the precise frost flame, the frozen soul, and then just the nimble toolbox for movement speed buff I've got on it. What I will be doing is I'm using the aged champion shield. That will give me 100% block damage. And then I've got the full set bonus of mycelium armor, which gives me extra ranged attack speed when I'm planted to the floor, along with a ton of ranged bonuses. And let's see if I can, with some summons, use the mycelium great bow to see how well an endgame great bow will do against the endgame boss. So here we go. So I'm going to buff up completely. These are all the buffs here that I've got. Accuracy, resistance, knockback, thorns, all that stuff. Some food for 5% attack speed for when I'm using the great bow to charge it faster. And here we go. So right there, I blocked that. And I was out of stamina, so I couldn't block that one. So I do have to be careful. If I can hit these things, see if I can take care of the dragons. Alright. The stamina drain rate is too quick on this, so I'm not doing great. Alright, move out the way. Heal up. Yeah, it isn't great with the shield, only because the stamina drain rate is way too quick. Yeah, I'm getting no damage in at all. No. Alright, so the great bows and great swords are good, but if it's not single target and you don't get a lot of time, they're not the best. The shields were good, but it seems that the drain rate for the stamina usage is way too much. So there may need to be stamina potions or things like that that'll help you reduce that. So that way you can more reliably use these items. But I think that's it. We went over the new great swords. We went over the new armor. We went over the new great bows and the shields. So if there's anything else you would like to know, let me know down in the comments. But until then, enjoy Necesse. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a ton of new updates, balance changes, things like that. So enjoy. Let me know what you think of the new equipment, new items, new weapons. Let me know. See ya.